Hello, this is my third stream. Today is Friday, December 12th, 2025, and I selected some images I took on a motorbike trip to Morocco, and I just want to make some very basic edits, probably going to be black and white. So I would like to start with this one, um, opening it in Camera Raw. And even though the color are nice and warm, but there are not a lot of colors, so I think this is actually a better black and white picture, as I often think. And um, I really like how those two guys here in the background are standing in the backlit alley. So um, so what I like about it is like here on the road, on the dirt road, and in the background, it's really nice tones if it's quite dark, but then we don't really see the outline of those figures against the wall. This would be only seen if we go quite bright, but then I think like the image loses a lot of its um, atmosphere and tone. So yeah, let's see how we manage what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna settle for something for now, which is quite the original exposure, and then probably try to pull down the background and the sky, and let's maybe start with pulling up some of the shadows here, just to get the contrast in order. The sky probably. Yeah, so one thing also, we cannot like go too dark on the sky because we have direct sun in the frame, and there's a distinct line between where the sun blows out the detail and um, the sky starts. So anyway, we have to go quite white on this, like something like this, where we start to not see a difference between those areas. Um, but Yeah, but let's go a little bit brighter. Something for the background would be with masks, I would say. So let's try what. Oh, so background mask does not really work. Let's try sky. Sky is fine, but we need to include also the hills in the background and everything. So maybe add with objects. Let's try if it manages to. Yeah, that's fine. Very good. And also these. Yeah, and finally with a smaller brush, let's add this. And also, let's go closer. So back to the masks. And let's firstly remove what has been too much here. And then add with objects and a very small brush. Just get these here. And this probably got, yeah, we have to paint it with a normal brush. Quite small size here. Yeah, those can be included here, but we can remove them. They're quite dark, so I don't think it doesn't make a difference if they're in the selection or not. So, but let's try to remove them via objects. Let's go here on the number 2. Yeah, works well. Yeah, nice. And subtract what's overpainted here on the wall. So that's already quite good for the background. And let's pull this down. maybe to something like this. Pull the highlights. Yeah, but you know, here with the sun, we still have the problem. We cannot go too dark, so it should stay something like this. I'm also not quite sure because we want to emphasize those guys, and it's a quite wide frame. I don't really like what's going on here on the right side, so maybe this is actually a portrait format. Ooh. And probably, like always, 4 to 5. Sorry. And turn it. So maybe this is actually the right frame for this. Let's see. Cannot go really close because then we are just have to not enough of this wall from the walls on the left and the right side. Maybe let's just try to go smaller in the landscape format. Mm, maybe it's something like this. I don't really like how the line goes to the corner here. But with the portrait format, I don't like that much of sky. And going even closer, it loses a lot if there's those both walls are not featured enough. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the portrait format. And I think what we're going to do, okay, let's just do some basic masking to get a nice tone for the overall image, and then we take care that the separation between those guys in the wall in the back is a little bit better. So just going a little bit darker here, but I need to subtract the sky because it needs to stay even. If all those masks show, it will look fake. So we will remove sky and just pull down here a little bit. Maybe raise the contrast. Yeah, something like this. And then probably maybe it's going to be a radial gradient here. Something like this. Yeah. Some simulated vignetting. Just maybe here a little bit more. Yes. And now let's make the wall behind those guys a little bit brighter. Let's see how this works. So I would say we do an object selection and try to have the whole area here. It's quite random sometimes because it tries to find objects, but okay, the rest will be with the normal paintbrush. So going like this. Maybe let's try this one, yeah. And subtract a little bit more. And now subtract objects and get the guys. And I don't know what it is it a dog or something? Let's see, and now let's pull, ooh. We can make it brighter, but we still have to raise the contrast. And we need to connect this to the whole thing here. So add objects and let's get this whole thing. No, excuse me. just the lower wall here. Just this wall, because I need a separation between the background, which is bright, and the foreground. Let's see what this, yeah. I think we will need to add a shadow here as well. So let's add with the brush some, ooh, that's quite, let's see. Okay, let's remove objects, everything that's the pole. And now let's see where we will land. I think it's going to be something like that. Let's see before and after. Yeah. I mean, it's quite bright now, but the separation from the background is, I mean, we could go another route as actually we can try to make it like, let's for now deactivate this one. And let's try another route where we just take the guy and make him really bright. No, because it's still, he's super bright now and the outline doesn't match. And it's still the same tone as the background. So this is not the right way to do it. So let's stick with this one. Okay. So um, let's see what we can do with the sky. Let's take a linear. I still have to battle with the sun later, I guess. So, but maybe that's something for Photoshop. Okay, let's subtract the buildings. And also this one. This object recognition masking saves a lot of time. I really love it. Okay, let's go just down a little bit. Don't want to have it too fake. So let's take this and maybe we can no, put like this. And okay, then maybe another linear for this one here, something like this. Let's see, maybe we have to remove it in the shadows, but no, it's fine. Stretch it a little bit more out and move it down. And okay, I think that's already quite nice. Let's have a check what's in color. No, it's a black and white image, definitely. Let's see. Maybe we still do something about this guy's clothes so that we can see the stripes a little bit better. So let's take an object mask and maybe just raise the highlights. It does a little bit. Let's lift the shadows. Just a little bit, maybe. Doesn't do much, but if you go closer, you see. Okay, and then we could think about, is there something that's distracting we want to remove or something? Oh, I think it's fine. Maybe we would calm this down a little bit in Photoshop later. Or let's just try to calm it down here with a mask, maybe. Just with a little brush here. A lot of feather, small brush, full feather actually, and just Let's see what this does. I think it's better. Let's have a look. Yeah, very good. I think we can even use this mask for these other spots and just change the opacity because this was really, really strong. And now we can just add a little bit and let's say take a flow of 52 and just add it a little bit here, smaller brush even, and just paint over these super bright spots a little bit just to bring them down a little bit. It's really important to compensate if we go down with exposure. We also need to lower contrast, lower highlights, and raise shadows so that it's not the shadows go too dark or anything. So it's always has to be compensated for. Yeah, and also this very bright spot. And in this way, we don't remove it. We keep it, but just make them not as flashy. Okay, let's have a look how this comes. Yeah, you see here's still a little bit too much shadow, so maybe just remove with brush and flow 50, just remove it a little bit here where it's too dark. Okay. So still the sky, there's still, I don't know if you can really see it that well, but I think there's still too much of a distinct line between the blown out sun area and the sky. I mean, we can go in this first mask we did and we could actually try to lower the contrast. You see, if you raise it, it gets, but it's nicer. It's always nicer with heavy contrast. Just keep it like that, and maybe we will blur it in Photoshop a little bit. Let's see. Okay. Let's check for detail. Maybe sharpen a little bit. Go to 100% to really see what we're doing. And sharpening, and yeah, I think we are going to go for a denoise for these areas here. I mean, if we were to print this large, there would be still a lot of work with the masks. I think that's the only trouble with those masking in Lightroom or Camera Raw, that for a small scale, they work really well. But if you want to print, you would have to do all of these masks in Photoshop and really cut them out precisely, because if we go even closer, let's check for the denoise now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit better, but just for us to see, these are all mistakes that come from the automated masking. So we go to our background mask. Yeah, you see that's a really nice sharp line, and then here it's a little bit out of focus, a little bit blurry because of the masking. Actually, now that I see it, I would really like to do it nicely, but this would take a long time. So, oh, now it's struggling. What is doing? So, okay, maybe this wall here is still a little bit too bright. I think that's something I would like to do before we go into I didn't even see it. It's a chicken. I was thinking it was a dog. Okay, so last mask. Selecting objects, and let's go for a 2 and just take this whole wall here, the sunlit wall. And let's add with objects. Yeah, I mean, it can fade out here, but we'll take this box here still. Yeah, I think that's okay. And now we will just pull the highlights down a little bit. And let's see. That's too much. Just a little bit. -25. Okay. Okay, let's open in Photoshop 16-bit, 26.8 megapixel. So we lost by cropping almost half of the resolution, but what can you do? Okay, open. This was actually shot. Oh, this was not really smart. It was ISO 320 with 6,400 part of a second. So we could have shot this with ISO 100 easily because we have so much. We could have lowered the time so much. Okay, so I would say let's make a mask for the part of the sky we want to blur. I would say let's try. Select the sky. Yes, here's not really right, but I think we could add, we just paint a little bit more. It's only about blurring this area here. So, yeah, but this is quite nice here. So, let's see. I'd say this is something, yeah, let's remove it with the lasso. Let's have a feather of, let's say 3 pixel and just remove it like this. This is also something I never really got used to working with paths and bending the paths. Now I'm just flying blind here. I'm still using the polygonal lasso. And now maybe let's have a, I'm gonna save this as a mask now. Just like levels, and now I have this mask here saved, but I will make a levels mask just to help us with to see where I mean, it's not that bad actually. I would say we blurred this area here a little bit. So as always, make a safety copy to keep the original underneath. And now let's go for the free lasso tool. Let's make a really big feather, like let's say 100 pixel. And just take this area here and blur it with a Gaussian blur. Yeah, very good. Should actually already be enough. And yeah, I mean, it's subtle, but I think we can see a little bit of a difference. I think it's more for printing that we need this, but yeah. Okay, and now I think finally there are some spots I want to remove. So let's go for the healing patch and just remove some of these brighter spots here, here. I really like to judge it by squinting my eyes and see what sticks. Yeah, like this. I mean, I don't want to remove everything because it's also the charm of this road that it's like pieces of glass and debris everywhere, but still needs to be a little bit more calm because we want to have the attention on those guys a little bit more and not on the pieces of debris here on the road. So and some pieces that I don't want to remove, but just make them a little bit more calm would be I take the clone stamp with a super soft hardness and let's say 40% opacity and just copy some neighboring area above it so that it's still there, but it just doesn't do as much. Calming it down, I call it. Computer is slow again. Some more. I can easily get carried away doing this, working hours on working on every little spot. But now I think that's fine. Maybe still this one here. And also just, I like that there's some dirt here, but it just needs to be a little bit darker. Okay, I think that's actually nice. Okay, I hope you enjoyed and maybe see you next time. Bye bye.